Hello folks, Brian Manzella coming to you from English Turn in New Orleans, and I get a lot of questions about my preference on grip, and mostly what they're talking about, because there's two different things when it comes to the grip. It's where the hands are relative to the face, and then where the hands are relative to the shaft, but mostly relative to the face. I get the questions all the time because I've done a couple of videos with patterns that had fairly neutral grips, and by neutral I'm talking about a grip that if you held your left arm up parallel to the ground, the back of my left arm and the back of my glove and the club face, the score lines of the club face are all parallel to the ground. To me, that's a neutral grip. There's people that have played golf with weaker than neutral grips. I think Tiger at times in the last couple of years has had a weaker than neutral grip. I think Johnny Miller at times in his career had a weaker than neutral left-hand grip. Ben Hogan's left-hand grip was pretty neutral. But anyway, do I prefer a neutral grip all the time? Heck no. I mean, no chance. That all came to be. I used to teach, pretty much when I first started teaching, we're talking about 25, 27 years ago, I taught what most people would call a relatively normal, professional left-hand grip, where the score lines are 10, 15, 20 degrees stronger than that neutral grip. And you teach a lot of slicers, especially when you first start teaching golf. And what happened along the way is you would have these people who had these open club faces, and now they have these slightly strong grips. A lot of slicers have really weak grips, and the heel pad of the left hand's not underneath the club. And what happens is, eventually you have to teach them to flatten their wrists out at some point, and the club face starts pointing toward the sky. So all these people, they fix their slice, but then they develop this crazy chicken wing thing right here, because if they did any kind of what I would call normal or even full roll move through the ball with their left arm and left hand, left wrist, whole forearm, let's say, they hit the ball left. So then you get some people who just couldn't ever learn to get that club sweet spot to turn off the plane to square up. Because remember, in a normal swing, that club face is sort of laying on a plane at the top, and it's cutting through the plane down here at the bottom. So I started experimenting with little people, and some of these are people that maybe shank it or slice it with really, really weak grips. Matter of fact, I think it all started with a shanker, and I gave him a super duper weak grip where he had to do the counter rotation, I call it twist away, the whole swing, just to be able to sort of shovel the ball straight. He could do it just perfect. He shanked every ball before that. And I started thinking, maybe the slicers would do better with a neutral grip. And for the most part, I'd say 90% of the time, they do. So I prefer a neutral grip when I'm fixing a slicer. Somebody has a really bad slice and they have to learn twist away. They have to learn a flat left wrist at the top. They have to learn to square the club up without flipping it. They have to, in my boat, they have to learn to do a full roll swivel where the left wrist is still flat and the thumb's more underneath the club at the top. Those are the people that, not that you couldn't do any of that stuff with a stronger grip, but the weaker grip encourages it, kind of rewards you for doing it. But most golfers would undoubtedly play better golf probably with a slightly stronger than neutral grip. The soft draw pattern, one of my favorite patterns and best videos I've ever done, slightly stronger grip. Now, what about the guy that has a really strong grip? Can he play good golf? Well, of course, David Duval, Paul Azinger. Basically, all you have to do is take the club face positions that you would want the club to get into, this sort of 45-degree look, and have whatever amount of bend in the left wrist you need for that position to happen. Because the ball doesn't know how the heck you're holding onto the club. That's just as flat a left wrist to the club as this super duper weak grip that maybe looks better on video, like my buddy David Toms always says, means it doesn't look better on the golf course on TrackMan, right? And then through the ball with a stronger grip, as you get the club to turn toward the plane right here, you're going to have to bend your wrists a lot more than you do with a neutral grip. So there's nothing wrong with a strong grip. Just substitute the club face positions that the pattern you're working on recommends and use whatever grip you want As long as it works for you, it's okay with me.